Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Flophouse Mini. As you all know, if you're listening, probably, the Flophouse is a podcast where we talk about bad movies normally. But in this case, we're going to do something a little different in that it's an off week. And off weeks are when we do our Flophouse Minis. And for this mini, I wanted to combine something that Elliott loves with something that he hates and watch them fight it out in his brain.
Fried chicken and Kokomo?
Close. Marvel Comics and fruit. Because in the 70s and 80s, Hostess did a series of comic book ads for their fruit pies. And of course, these ran not just in Marvel Comics, but also in DC, Archie, Gold Key, and Harvey Comics. And some of the ads were for non-fruit treats like Twinkies. But I'm going to be focusing on Marvel and fruit pies. And the premise of these ads were usually that superheroes were foiling crime with the strategic deployment of fruit pies.
Yeah, the fruit pies would distract the villain often, and they go, I don't want to steal these millions when I could have these delicious fruit pies.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Take that, Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to
Take
look
that,
through...
Fin Fang Foom.
Yeah, Thanos is like, I love death, but even more, I love cherry pies.
Fin Fang Foom. Would a fruit pie be enough to even interest that guy?
Well, the thing is, Fin Fang Foom can only be put to sleep by a special herb. So if that's one of the ingredients in Hostess fruit pies, then it would
he's
be
done
do
so,
the trick. Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to look through some of these ads, and obviously, this is not just for Elliott; it's also open to Stuart. But I especially wanted Elliott's insider knowledge of comics, and
I'm just here to keep him honest.
Yeah, yeah. And I wanted to, we're going to look through these things. I wanted to rate each of these installments on a scale of 1 to 10 in 2 categories. The first category, of course, fidelity to the material. How much does this feel like a regular adventure that these heroes might have? How on model is the characterization, etc.
So this really ties into the Garfield movie episode just last week, which was very off model for that character.
Yeah, that's true. And the second category, of course, is how well do we think the pies would work in this situation? Is this a plausible deployment of pies as weapons? So,
what's the score rating?
It's 1 to 10 on each of these.
Is 10 the best or worst?
10 is the best in this case, yeah.
Just like
best,
Blake Edwards.
Most
sorry, what's the question?
That was a solid 10 joke, Dan, and you gave him nothing.
Yeah.
I'm so distracted by seeing whether I understand how to share my screen.
Dan's like, I'm confused by the rules of my own game. the ultimate jigsaw.
That's working, right, Elliott?
No, I can see nothing.
You can see nothing?
I mean, I can see
you
you
guys.
guys.
You should see your doctor. Okay, well, hold on. Let's see if we're going to go back down.
Yeah, my eyes, the
Share.
goggles do nothing. Oh,
Yep.
now it's sharing, and I'm seeing a very small window.
Well, I'm going to maximize it, so chill out, dude.
Wow.
I'm sorry that I was accurately reporting what I was seeing to you.
I feel like there's no better podcast than hearing middle-aged dudes fiddle with technology and get mad.
Here we go. So, of course, this first one, I got to move this screen sharing thing out of the way. We've got.
If you press the play button on the top of that, it might just show the image and not the whole thing. At the top, go to the left and
good tip.
Boing,
and there
check
you go.
That shit out.
Okay, so thank you for bearing with us. This one is called the.
Because there's no way to edit any of that. It has to be shown in real
impossible.
time. Yeah.
I think that part of the charm of our show is how ramshackle it is.
Mm-hmm.
At least
that's what we tell ourselves.
Yeah, it's convenient that it means that we don't have to do as much work. Now, anyway, this one's called Thing and the Ultimate Weapon, and we have, of course,
and the Ultimate Weapon.
The Thing. Sorry, the was hidden in the T. Of course, the Thing from Fantastic Four.
First steps
is here
in theaters soonish.
Yeah, maybe already in theaters when this
some
drops.
purple hooded fellow has the thing under a hydraulic press.
Mm-hmm.
It says it has the power to push through a planet. It will certainly keep this strange looking human in his place.
He calls it an atomic hydrolo press, which is, I do approve as an unnecessary complication of what it actually is, which is a hydraulic press. Yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, in the grand tradition of villains, he narrates what's going on. He says, look, his hands dig into the metal as if it were paper. And
this art is by Sam Keith, right?
Yeah, because the characters all have huge hands and feet, phone cord threads coming off their clothes, and Wolverine is naked. Yes, yeah, exactly.
The thing, pushes this press off him. He comes at this electro man, this robot man, and the robot says, "It is time for the ultimate weapon, Torgo." I guess this is Torgo from Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Yep, Torgo, the assistant to the Master from Manos, the Hands of Fate, the man with goat legs. Yeah. Here portrayed as a kind of somewhat Kirby-esque robot. Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is not enjoying this. It says, sheesh, just when I need another challenge. They fight, The thing is not interested. He's like, oh, fighting's boring. Here's some Hostess fruit pies, apple, cherry, peach. And the robot, despite being a robot, is eating these pies and says, these are very good. And the thing says, do you like the light, tender crust and the real fruit filling? Everyone does. Everyone, including Metal Men, apparently.
Yeah. But not me. The Metal Men, of course, DC characters. So
thank you.
We don't know if they like fruit pies. But this is a generic Metal Man, Torgo. Yeah. So.
But Torgo says, you're right. This is better than fighting. I guess the hooded purple guy is a different guy. He says
there's two of them now. Oh no, there's always two. So there's two in the first panel. It's just hard to make them out.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell that was two in the first. But he says they're more to this strange human creature than brawn. I would only wish that we too could enjoy some Hostess fruit pies. Sigh. I mean,
It
seems like if they went into the room, they could just get some of these pies.
No, part of it for them is the kink of watching them eat pies.
Yeah. They're pie cucks. Yeah.
So first off, my question: fidelity to the is Torgo a known Fantastic Four villain, or is this?
To my knowledge, this is not an original Fantastic Four character. This is an addition. These two hooded characters who are just kind of vaguely, perhaps alien villains. One of them has kind of a green hand. Yeah. Otherwise, they look like Orko a little bit from Masters of the Universe.
They kind of look like the tall man's henchmen that have been shrunk down when he puts them through the tuning forks.
Yeah. As far as I know, Torgo is not a character that Thing has encountered before, or any Marvel character before. But the name
But he
Torgo,
is the ultimate weapon.
He is the ultimate weapon. Torgo is, he looks very Ultronish, and Torgo certainly is the kind of name that a lot of Marvel characters from the old timely monster days would have had. Gugam, that kind of stuff.
I do love the those like Kirby-style metal lines on his body. That's just sick. I love that.
So maybe the villain's not close to the comics, but what about the characterization of Thing here? Like, he seems to be the Thing we know.
He says no overgrown toy is going to keep this blue-eyed pretty boy tied down against his will. It's been established, it's canon. He does have blue eyes because he's everybody ever-loving blue-eyed Thing and Petunia's favorite nephew. And when Torgo comes out, that he goes, sheesh, just when I need another challenge. That sheesh is very Thing. So yeah, he's on character. This is on brand for him. Now, normally he would just keep punching the robot instead of offering the robot food. That seems like
more twist of the third act.
Yeah, that seems like more the kind of thing when Reed Richards would come, Mr. Fantastic would come in at the end and be like, wait, my electrospectrometer detects that this robot loves fruit pies and gives it to him, But I think, Thing, he's a man of the people though, so he would certainly share his fruit-filled pastry. Rather than be selfish about it,
Does he have to ingest like a shitload of calories because he's the Thing, or
you would have to assume so? He must burn so many calories just carrying the mass around.
Who eats more, the Thing or Concrete?
So, do they ever talk about how much Concrete eats in those stories? They must, right?
That's
the kind of thing that Concrete stories would totally mention.
Text Paul Chadwick.
Yeah, Dan, you have Paul Chadwick's number, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's similar to Concrete. You have to assume that all the floors in the Baxter building are reinforced because the Thing weighs so much, much as Concrete's floors had to be reinforced,
Yeah.
So
there should totally be a Thing Concrete crossover. I don't know why there hasn't been. If there hasn't been, they should do it. Yeah.
I'm going to call it realism, even though obviously there's no realism to be had. It's a superhero comic. But realism will stand in for, fidelity to the source. What's your realism score, would you say, for this one?
I'm giving this, in terms of realism in the Marvel Universe, I'm giving it a 10. This is the kind of story Thing would have found himself in issues of 2 and 1. The comic book where Thing would team up with a different other hero each week or each month, and often with a B-list hero having a B-list adventure with a B-list villain. But I'll say in terms of fidelity to the original source, I'm giving it a 10. In terms of would this really work, I'm going to give it a 1. I think that the robot would not express interest in the fruit pie. It's possible that if you can get it to eat it, it would gum up the internal works and break the robot. But I don't think it would be that you would convince the robot that to love fruit pies rather than fighting.
No, I have to agree with you. I don't think that these hooded figures, presuming they're the ones who made the robot, would have programmed the robot with taste bud technology.
No, TBT.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, let's...
okay, number one down.
To this.
Uh-oh.
This one's called Daredevil's Daredouble.
Mm-hmm.
I put the question mark, and it actually has an exclamation point. But
yeah, an exclamation point outside of the quotes around Daredevil. It's quote dare-double quote exclamation point, which is an interesting way to. I guess it says Daredevil is the whole phrase. And it's an exclamation point at the end of that. Okay, I understand now.
There's sort of an explanatory, box in here. It says Ron Rainey, known to film buffs as the man with 999 faces.
Yikes.
I like that. Has retired from the silver screen, but not from his love for disguises. And he's admiring himself in the mirror, saying, "Egad, I look perfect wearing this Daredevil costume. I can steal anything, and Daredevil will take the blame."
It's actually a really good plan.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a great plan, assuming he doesn't get caught in the act. As someone without Daredevil's powers or fighting prowess, it's very likely that he would get caught in the act of stealing the money.
Yeah.
And then he can't say, no, I didn't do it, Daredevil did, because, again, he would be the one holding the money in a Daredevil costume. Otherwise, a great plan.
Well, also, I mean, fortunately, he has Daredevil's impressive physique as well. He's very muscly guy. But it seems to be working. There's, newspapers are saying Daredevil goes on a rampage, crime wave, etc. There's an anchor saying that Daredevil has stolen millions in 2 weeks, which is very successful robbery. And so Foggy is reading the paper saying,
Daredevil's best friend and law partner, Foggy Nelson. Yeah.
He's saying, Matt, I can't just believe this about the Daredevil. And Matt says, neither can I, Foggy. Of course, he really can't believe it. But he has a plan. He has a hunch that the fake Daredevil won't be able to resist Hostess fruit pies.
And Dan says that as if he's describing it, but Daredevil literally thinks to himself, I have a hunch the fake Daredevil won't be able to resist these Hostess fruit pies. What's this hunch based on? Just the quality of the pies,
Specifying that, and sure enough, that night, fake Daredevil is stealing other stuff from the storefront.
So it says the storefront legal services, which is Daredevil and Foggy's at that time, their legal company. They had a storefront law office, because they wanted to help people.
He's stealing legal files, I guess.
Hard to tell.
And he's loving it. He's laughing.
It's hard to tell from the sack what's in there, but he's clearly, the fact that he chose to steal something from right next to or in Daredevil, the actual Daredevil's office.
Hell's Kitchen's pretty small.
Yeah, it's pretty small. It's a bad stroke of luck for him. Again, if you want to steal millions, at the time, Hell's Kitchen was not the place to go. But
you got to watch the movie How to Steal a Million. That'll tell you.
That's real up to date. Yeah.
Daredevil says,
you got to find that Brewster guy.
Take his stuff.
He'll help you steal the millions because he wants to get rid of it. Yeah.
There he is right on time. Thinks Daredevil. All right, you phony. You've got the pies. Now taking it. Okay. He was there stealing pies.
Oh, so he set a
from
trap.
The law
That's what
offices.
It is. So he seems to be. So, okay, if I'm understanding this correctly, I misunderstood that.
Classic
in panel 3,
honeypot, guys.
Daredevil seems to be putting out boxes of fruit pies, and then in panel 4, the fake Daredevil stealing them. If you put boxes of fruit pies on the street outside your office, it is no longer stealing. If
you
someone
put a sign
takes
that
them.
says "Not for stealing,"
but it is a trap to catch a thief.
To catch him, that's true. Because that's true. He is the thief.
Chris Hansen's waiting around the corner.
And in the last the last panel, Daredevil magnanimously says, "But I'll let you finish that Hostess cherry fruit pie before I take you in." And Ron Rainby, the man of 999 faces, has a look of mania.
He's taken the mask off as a way of acknowledging, what, I'm not the real Daredevil. I've been sunk.
Yeah, and he's enthusing. Real fruit filling, light tender crust, and maybe curtains for me. But what a delicious exit! So, okay. Now, what do we think of the fidelity, the realism?
Now, I like they've got. So this says on the side, copyright 1976. So this is pre-Frank Miller Daredevil. Daredevil was pretty goofy at that time. So I kind of the storyline of someone pretending to be Daredevil in order to rob places. That's a very Marvel Comics storyline. That's how Chameleon first came into the comics. He was pretending to be Spider-Man to steal things. There's Bullseye has pretended to be Daredevil. Kraven's pretended to be Spider-Man. Characters are always pretending to be the heroes, and so I'm going to say Red Skull at one point was in a cloned Captain America body, and I think he was wearing a Captain America costume at one point. So I will say that's good fidelity to certainly 70s Marvel, too. A hero dressing up as the bad guy in order to commit crimes.
The other way around, but yeah.
Once again, it's hard for me to believe that he loves fruit pies so much that he is going to show up in costume, in his felonious costume, to take those fruit pies and then stop to eat and then be like, you got me.
He's already got millions, but he doesn't have those main pies.
That's true. There's no way to get those pies with millions. There's just no way. So the fact that it doesn't try to run away and continue to take the fruit pies, but instead just stops. Maybe he just knows
the
he can't run away
taste
from
of a
Daredevil.
pie that you steal is so much better than the taste of pie you pay for.
That's why
very
all
fair,
those hobos, like float on the air when they smell a pie.
Yeah, and they don't float into stores and then give a couple dollars.
Yeah, they don't
just steal them from
float
homes.
float over to an ATM.
Well, I mean, these are unhoused people, but we're thinking of cartoon hobos.
Yeah,
and also
Let's
it's
make it clear.
pre-ATM time periods. Yeah.
These are
As opposed to
cartoon hobos
as
with
opposed to the real
askew top hats.
Yeah, it was back in the day where ATM just stood for ass to mouth, like Dan always tells me.
Yeah,
that's what he says. He calls those the good old days. But you're right, Dan. We should make clear we're not talking about real life unhoused people who float along pie scent to where pies are. Yeah. So I'm going to give this again a 10 for fidelity to the original comics, and I'm going to give it I think I'm going to give it a 3 because again he's a human foil.
He's human,
it does make a little more sense that this fellow would be distracted by a box of pies.
And as an actor, maybe he doesn't have a lot of time in his busy career. He hadn't had time to eat pies, and now that he has access to them,
he's been so worried about his physique that this is a real treat for him. That he gets to have.
I mean, at the very most basic level, he needs sustenance, and he also can taste things, as opposed to the robot Torgo, who neither of those things are true.
We're assuming cannot. Yeah.
Now, guys, you brought up Frank Miller before. This one in my research is purported to have been done by Frank Miller. It's the Human Torch in
the Human Torch,
the Human Torch in the Ice Master Cometh.
Okay,
and so
that's a very Marvel title. They love to do puns on or plays on kind of like titles of things, famous titles, but also cometh was a big thing for them. It was always or lo a something. That was big. So I'm giving points for that. Yeah. A
little box says the city is in the middle of a deep freeze.
And the Human Torch, what does he say? Yeah.
He says, the Ice Master is living up to his threat to put us into a new ice age. And we see the Ice Master. He looks kind of like, what's the Rankin Bass character?
Like a Jack Frost type?
Mr. Freeze Master or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
The Cold Miser or whatever. Anyway.
He looks like the Ice King in there's a Wizard of Oz comic where they deal with an Ice King, and he looks like that.
Yeah, and
one
he
of
says,
Eric Shanower's Wizard of Oz comics. They're really good.
Even you're not hot enough to melt my heart of ice, flame face.
Interesting. The Wizard of Oz comic is also about someone melting a heart of ice. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny that it says flame face specifically when the whole body is inflamed.
Well, it's just meant as an insult. Yeah. Spidey is often called the web head when he has webs over his arms as well and his feet.
Yeah. The Human Torch says he's right. His power is not just ice; it's life-stealing cold. And he flies off. The Ice Master taunts him, saying, "Leaving me cold, hotshot." And he says, "Getting me something that will warm you from the inside out, Ice Master. Hostess fruit pies," which he tosses.
Oh, for me.
I assume they're warm now.
A flaming hand has been holding them, yeah.
Yeah. Again, a lot of waxing poetic about these pies. The Ice Master says, "What crust, so light and tender? And I'm warming up to the real fruit filling." And
guys, real quick, was this during a period of time where people were really concerned that the crust wouldn't be light and tender enough?
I guess so.
I think that's always the concern with pies. You want it to be very light and tender.
And certainly a packaged pie with a shelf life. You want it to be, you don't want it to be mushy.
But at
Thick
the
and
end,
hard.
we see the Human Torch flying over the no longer frozen city, saying things are warming up again now that the Ice Master has warmed up to the goodness of Hostess fruit pies.
An underwhelming adjective,
Yes.
just goodness.
Well, I like how it implies that there's something healthful about them, which is not.
I do like that the panel where the Ice Master is eating the pies. It is he's like starting to melt.
Yeah.
In that eating the pies is killing him.
Oh, yeah.
Now, so I'm gonna say this in this one, the Human Torch is being a little generic. He doesn't feel like himself. I feel like I'm not getting a lot of Human Torch from him. He doesn't seem like Johnny Storm.
The hothead.
That thing, yeah, exactly. Hothead, a kid, like the youngest member of the team.
But I assume this is very accurate to all the other times the Ice Master showed up to
sure.
the devil.
Ice Master,
sure.
Big deal.
Ice Master, huge villain. You'll see him in the new movie. Yeah, I will say if this is Frank Miller drawing it, I kind of believe it, if only because of the panel placement. There are some vertical panels in here, and that's something that and some very much wider than they are tall horizontal panels, and that's this kind of stuff Frank Miller would be experimenting with quite a bit in his Daredevil run. So I believe it. And the character art, the drawings don't look too different from his earlier stuff. But I'll say, this one is a little bit but less. In fidelity to the characters, I'm going to give it more of a 5. They didn't give the Human Torch any powers he doesn't have or anything like that. Yeah. The Ice Master's a new addition to the Rogues Gallery. But in terms of winning over the bad guy, I'm going to give this an 8. In terms of the Ice Master, I totally believe this guy has never had a fruit pie, and it would blow his mind.
Yeah, it would fucking rock his day.
Okay,
it does look like this was drawn by a guy with an affection for fedora hats.
And ninjas,
and complicated political views.
Complicated?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Pretty
if anything, too simplistic. Yeah.
Oh, look, this next one has our old friend Iron Man.
Oh, man.
He is our old friend, isn't he?
We
go way back.
Savior of the MCU here.
Yeah, he says...
Steel Jesus, they call him.
Iron Man versus the bank robbers. So just
my new favorite
down.
Villains.
Yeah.
I mean, they have dope-ass outfits for having such a generic name.
Yeah.
We get
but again, Iron Man's Rogues Gallery is pretty crappy, so I totally buy it. Yeah, when you're making your second Iron Man movie and your villain is Whiplash, then you're not dealing with the best Rogues Gallery.
We get kind of an unnecessary explanatory panel up at the top, just saying robbers are holding hostages at the bank. We can pretty much see that from the drawing. But meanwhile, outside, Iron Man cleverly is saying, we need a diversion to give us time to get through the door before the bank robbers harm anybody. Now they're demanding that food be sent in, says one of the SWAT cops. They'll get no food from us. That's the hard-ass negotiator, I guess.
Now it's time for me to throw some tear gas at protesters for no reason.
Yeah. Iron Man says, wait. That may be our big break. Iron Man's always thinking, that's classic Iron Man.
Sure, yeah.
Thinking,
irony.
And wasn't he always drinking too?
Thinking and drinking.
Not always,
that's Iron
not
Man.
always drinking, often, but not always. Now, here's the thing. Iron Man, next panel, he says, send in these Hostess fruit pies. I believe Iron Man eats fruit pies. It's one of the few foods that will fit through the mouth slit in his mask.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're slot-shaped. And, something like Tony Stark, he probably eats Soylent. He doesn't care about food. He just wants something he can stuff in his face.
It's just sustenance. He's a tech guy. He thinks he's gonna evolve his body past physical needs. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. He's gonna be doing crimes of the future.
He's just
chomping down on some plastic. Yeah.
This is interesting. This is a new wrinkle on the fruit pies thing. He says, I'll listen in on their conversation with my cyber helmet receiver. So he's bugging the fruit pies. That's kind of a new wrinkle.
Would make me less eager to eat a fruit pie, knowing that it might be helping Big Brother keep their tabs on me.
I do love this next panel.
Yeah. Well, why don't you describe it then, Stuart?
Okay, so the bank robbers have received a cart filled with fruit pies. They are tossing their guns aside. They say, hey, Hostess fruit pies, give me that cherry one. I'll take that apple. They are...
Yeah.
The plan is working all too well.
Just throwing their guns away at the mere sight of
and having heard the guns clatter upon the ground.
Iron Man with his
bursts,
cyber helmet receiver. Yeah.
I'm assuming through the wall.
Yeah, he says, now's the time for a little heavy-handedness.
Yeah, and he's blasting these dudes while fruit pies scatter about.
Yeah.
And and the bank robbers put their finger on their fatal flaw. They say, "Ooh, we never should have put down our weapons," which is truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah.
But another one says, "But who could resist the real fruit filling and the light tender crust?"
Yeah.
They actually like say
tender crust.
Each one says a different thing, Huey, Dewey, and Louie style.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys?
And then there's a little flag that says you get a big delight in every bite of Hostess fruit pies.
Yeah. Now again, I'm gonna jump in here. I'm gonna say in terms of Iron Man characterization, I'm gonna give it an 8. He is a tool. He's a total tool. He's a total. He's on the side of authority. He's always gonna be helping the man keep down these the people who just want to rob a bank. Okay, I will say they're bank robbers. They're not good guys. But I would totally see him working with the cops, whereas Spider-Man would stop these bank robbers. The cops would be like, "Hey, you stop! We got some questions for you." And he'd be like, "Sorry, more fruit pies," and he'd throw them to them. But
we'll
I think,
see.
Again, I think it is difficult to believe that they couldn't eat the fruit pies with one hand while holding their gun with the other hand. But
no,
you know what?
You want one in each hand.
Yeah, but if these guys, they can't even come up with a cool name for themselves other than the bank robbers, so I'll believe it's going to happen. So I'm going to give it an 8 all around. 8 for character representation and 8 for this plan would work in stopping these bank robbers.
Yeah, I buy it.
You buy Hostess fruit pie?
I mean, I have in my life. Not for
You truly have lived, haven't you, Dan?
not for decades. It's more of like
I've been known to buy a fruit pie in my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In high school.
I got Anthony Bourdain over here.
Hello, this is Alex.
Hello, this is Katie.
We host Secretly Incredibly Fascinating, and this week we released our 250th episode.
250! D.
Every episode stands on its own.
And every episode is about a seemingly ordinary topic.
We reveal the history and the science of stuff like salt and clouds and your computer mouse.
And episode 250 is about the word hello.
Hello!
You know that word. You're ready to go.
So let us say hello to you. Find Secretly Incredibly Fascinating at MaximumFun.org.
Hi, is this Brennan?
This is Brennan.
This is Ben Harrison. I'm the host of The Greatest Generation and Greatest Trek, along with my buddy Adam on Maximum Fun. I am calling because you, Brennan, have been named Maximum Fun's Member of the Month.
Oh my God, I'm so honored to be the Max Fun Member of the Month.
As Member of the Month, you'll be getting a gift card to the Max Fun store, a special Member of the Month bumper sticker, and a special priority parking spot at the Max Fun headquarters in Los Angeles, California, just for you. That's a perk that I don't even get as a host of shows on the network.
This all sounds fantastic. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to use that parking spot at which you want.
Brennan, you have to do it. Just to rub it in my face alone. Have a great day and live long and prosper. I don't know how to do this.
That works. I will do my best to live long and prosper.
Become a Max Fun member now at MaximumFun.org/join.
We got another Daredevil comic here.
Oh, okay.
Our old friend Daredevil's back again for another bite of that pie. Daredevil versus Johnny Punk. Now, of course, we all remember Johnny Punk.
Sure.
Yeah.
Classic Marvel villain. What do we got here? Johnny Punk is saying, in the next set, we raise the decibels to mega pitch. The high-frequency sound waves will lock their brains. They'll do whatever I command. Now, that's just science.
Classic
Johnny Punk, I'll say this. That is science. It is punk. Johnny Punk, I love this character's design. He's got a classic punk mohawk. It's not a tall one, but it's like more of a Travis Bickle one, slightly taller than Travis Bickle's. From the neck down, he dresses like American flag. I think like the character Reuben Flag from the American Flag comics, and I love that outfit. Look, leather jacket.
He's got a leather jacket,
shoulder
but also
pads,
a necktie,
jeans.
which is
he's also got
an
a tie.
unusual.
Dan, there are plenty of punks that wear ties. You know.
No, it's true. I guess it's just the
playing
items
on
together.
different ideas.
Yeah,
Exactly. He looks cool. And the name Johnny Punk, that's a cool name. That's super cool.
Daredevil is hanging from a building outside, and he says to no one in particular, "My hypersensitive hearing picked up Johnny Punk's little plan, and it's not my idea of crowd control."
Good one.
He's just snarking to no one.
I do like the sign says tonight. You can see the marquee. It says tonight, Johnny Punk.
Yeah, so he's already a headliner, unless he's a villain that announces where he's going to be.
Yeah.
Very Batman.
And Daredevil. Sorry, go on.
I like this next panel. Daredevil goes in, and the sound guy who works for Johnny Punk goes, "Hey, look who's horning in." That's a good joke. Daredevil has horns.
Yeah. Oh, right.
That's why he's
And
a hornhead.
Johnny Punk says, "Back off, or I'll blow the roof off with sound."
First off, using off twice, unnecessary. And then with sound, I like that.
Yeah.
Daredevil again, he's thinking to himself. This is an internal monologue this time. My radar senses enough electric potential to do just that. Gotta think. He has to tell himself to think. How about Hostess fruit pies before you turn on the juice? And Johnny Punk says, "Sure. I sure dig the real fruit filling."
Now this is very not Punk. To say you dig something, come on.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, Daddy-O. Apple and Cherry, that's a dynamite duo. Johnny Punk has to give it up. He says, "Sharp move, Daredevil. You've got us, but we've got the goodies." He really, didn't seem committed to this plan.
No, well, he's saying they've kidnapped the British sketch group, the Goodies, and they'll kill them if Daredevil doesn't let them go. Yeah.
And Daredevil says, "Better a Hostess fruit pie than the fruits of crime, Johnny Punk." And he swims away saying, "And thanks to Hostess, I don't have to listen to his music anymore." Wow. A real James Bond dissing the Beatles moment here.
I will say though, again, okay, there's a couple things in here that I think are very Daredevil and some are not. I don't buy Daredevil as a guy who listens to Punk. I would believe that a guy who is a lawyer with a deeply Catholic kind of faith and sin and redemption background is probably not keyed into the Punk lifestyle or necessarily the Punk sound. But when he says, so I'll give him points for that. I don't think Daredevil would listen to Punk. If he was like, "Now to sit back for this Johnny Punk show," I'd be like, "No way, narc, you don't like this." But when he says, my radar senses enough electric potential to do just that. I don't think that he can do that with his radar sense. That he can sense how much electricity is in there. It's really more of a second sight for him, So I'm going to say it's a mixed bag for Daredevil in terms of characterization, but I feel like Johnny Punk is the character find of 1976. So I could totally see, and I could see he's a punk. He probably hasn't eaten that much lately. He's going to go live in a squat after this. I think he would stop his crime for some fruit from free food.
So good scores all around. For this, other than maybe some deductions for the realism. The Thing's back.
Oh boy, the Thing.
The Thing has returned. This one's called The Thing and Earthly Delights.
Oh, weird.
So there's sex in it.
And we're inside a New York deli. And
sexiest place on earth.
There's a UFO outside. Aliens are coming in. And the deli owner or proprietor or what he says, "I've seen everything, but never, net. And someone says, "They're after us." And helpfully, the alien explains why they're here. He says, "Our appetite for earthly delights will soon be satisfied. Prepare for uplift." But the Thing crashes in saying, "Not so fast, bub. You're not taking anybody anywhere." And I'm not sure what the Thing is doing here. He seems to be
going to the deli.
He seems to be taking the energy ray that they shot the people with and using it to tie up the aliens.
Yeah, this is confusing. But then the Thing says, "If it's earthly delights you want..."
There's some real story problems with this ad for Hostess fruit pies.
Yeah.
"Earthly delights you want for your trip? Take these Hostess fruit pies. Cherry for you, apple for your friend."
No, he's got them in a big box.
Yeah.
Well, he's boxed
they're
them
in a
into
deli,
their tastes of fruit pies for sure. You look like a cherry man," he says.
And their countenance has changed entirely. They are nothing but smiles.
Yeah. Later, after the Thing has untied the space invaders, and they're again kvelling over these pies.
Oh, very nice, Dan. Wow, yeah.
Thank you.
Nice Yiddish there.
In honor of Ben Grimm there.
Yeah.
And the deli, yeah.
"Taste the light, tender crust and the real fruit filling. This must be what Earthlings call delicious."
Yeah, it's a real mitzvah, right?
And they zip off in their ship.
Yeah, Thing has nachas over the whole thing. Yeah.
The deli owner says, "I always thought Hostess fruit pies were out of this world. Now they are." So, yeah, again,
So they
are these
were.
scrolls, Elliot?
These are not scrolls. They seem like kind of your generic aliens. They've got a little bit like they've got pointy ears and kind of bald, pointy heads, so they look a little like scrolls. They look a little like the Impossible Man, who is a Fantastic Four character. He's from the planet Pop Up. But yeah, they're pretty. I feel like Thing is getting the short end when it comes to the bad guys he's dealing with these.
So they
far.
they were totally going to have sex with these two guys, right?
It's unclear. They just say our appetite for earthly delights as they take a man in a suit and fedora and or maybe it's a pork pie hat and the proprietor of a deli. So I don't know if they're going to have sex with them, if they're going to eat them both. I don't know.
You make a good point. That does seem to be.
But whatever unearthly, unholy appetite was about to be sated, Thing has done that with fruit pies.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this one low marks all around, I think.
Realism?
Yeah, I mean, Thing does say your, Y-E-R, instead of your. So that's kind of like him, but he just kind of comes out of nowhere. The plot, I don't see why the aliens give up so
how
easily.
Is he tying him up with laser?
Yeah, how does it? He's super strong, but he's not so strong that he can bend a laser with his fists.
Yeah.
So this is pretty low marks. I'll give it a 2 for is this plan going to work?
Is the thing as strong as the Hulk?
The Thing is not as strong as the Hulk. And this is one of the enduring, wonderful things about the Thing is that he is not the strongest there is. He is very strong, but he's not the strongest there is, but he never gives up. So there have been a number of stories where he fights the Hulk. He pretty much always loses, but the whole point of those stories is you can't really be defeated because he's never going to give up. And there's a great story, a one-issue story where this character, the Champion, comes down to Earth and he challenges all all the strong guys to a fight, and Thing is the last one, and Thing goes like 90 rounds with this guy until he's almost on death's door, and Thing says, you can kill me, but I'm too stupid and I'm too ugly to give up. I'm still going to keep fighting you. And the Champion is like, I won, but I have so much respect for you that I'm going to spare your planet, like what you showed me today. So the Thing is not as strong as the Hulk, but he's got more heart, So that's the Thing's real superpower is heart.
I think we're closing in on the end. I've lost track on how many we've done, and I accidentally closed the window that shows how many.
Okay.
But this one, for the first time, we're seeing our old friend Captain America in Fury Unleashed, because Nick Fury's also here.
Although, ironically, Fury is not unleashed in it. He's in danger, and Cap has to save him,
Cap busts in through the metal door. He punches it open. He says, "The trapster's at it again. One trap leads to another." Now this
Elliott's bouncing his seat. He loves the
trapster. Already, I've got an issue with it. I mean, the trapster is a villain, but he really just uses a glue gun to get. It's not like he comes up with different traps. The trapster, as you know, used to be Paste Pot Pete, and he had like magic glue that was super strong, and eventually he changed it to a glue gun. And one of the fun things about him in the comics is he'll show up and say, the trapster's here, and they'll go, oh, hey, Paste Pot Pete. And he's like, that's not my name anymore. So it's always very fun.
He just sets
up different traps.
How does the trapster feel about the fact that Spider-Man invented like web fluid and shit? That's like basically his whole deal. But he's also a Spider-Man and a kid.
I don't know that I don't think he knows that Spider-Man invented that when he was a kid.
Oh, okay.
There's different, there's Oreos and there are Hydrox. You can have them both.
Yeah, I guess right.
One's more popular, but doesn't mean Hydrox is not around unless they've went out of business and I don't know about it,
Yeah. Anyway, here Fury explains the deal, even though we can see it in the drawing. Fury says, "Better not come any closer, Cap. The trapster's goon has me by the neck."
I'm going to stop you right there.
I also will point out that I love the classic Buccaneer boot design of Captain America. I wish Chris Evans had Buccaneer boots.
The things that I wish they would do in the movies, I wish he had Buccaneer boots. I wish he had the wings actually sticking out of his head. It's just not just. I like at least that they're painted on. He's got those gloves that have a little bit of extra opening, like they're a little loose. It's just very flowy. I love it. So. This goon, I got 2 issues with this. Let me just talk about it. Okay, Dan, can I finish? Can I finish, Dan, before you continue on with this? Is that the idea that Trapster has goons? Yeah. Trapster is a B or C lister. He's not hiring goons. He's working for somebody else. He's probably working for the Wingless Wizard or something like that, as part of the Frightful Four. But this goon, he also looks so much like Nick Fury's villain, Baron von Strucker. All he's missing is an eye patch. And I was like, at first glance, I thought this was Baron von Strucker. And I was like, Von Strucker is working for the Trapster? That doesn't make any sense. It should be the other way around. No, it's just a guy who looks like him. Fury probably made the same mistake when he saw him, But it's just the idea that the Trapster is kind of hiring people to do things. Maybe in the 70s he was doing a little better. Maybe he was riding high and he had the money to do that. But usually the Trapster is the guy who's like, working for somebody else.
Well, I mean, Elliott in this version, he's riding so high that he can afford to not be in the middle of the action. He is watching on a monitor from a different room. He chuckles to himself. Ha! We'll see how Captain America solves this dilemma. I mean, it's not really much of a dilemma or a trap. He just the goon has Nick Fury by the neck. But anyway,
it's a pretty good trap.
Cap says, "My strength and my shield won't solve this mess, but strategy
I don't
can."
know why the strength and the shield wouldn't solve this mess. All he has to do is beat up the guy who's choking Nick Fury.
Guys, the thing is his fucking shield immediately is involved in his plan.
Yeah,
That's true.
he says, "Okay, you big overgrown Goliath. I bet you can't wait to get your hands on these Hostess fruit pies." And he throws the shield like a serving platter with pies on it. I would think that would mess up sort of the aerodynamics of
Did
it.
he tape him to the fucking shield?
They would
I mean,
shoot
maybe
off with centrifugal force.
Maybe he found the Trapster's adhesive and his super adhesive, and he attached them that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But the goon is again, he's loving it. What is Fury compared to this great taste? Real fruit filling, light tender crust. And Fury compliments Cap as they run away. Hostess fruit pies. That was using your brains, Cap. And Trapster curses fate. He says, "Hostess fruit pies curses. Captain America is as smart as he is strong." So
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I guess
Wasn't
sometimes
counting on
Trapster
that
uses.
light, tender crust.
I guess sometimes he uses other traps too. This one, I feel like this is the idea that that Nick Fury couldn't deal with this goon, I think is a little out of the ordinary. I think this one, I do like that Captain America has a smile on his face in panel 4. That's something I miss. The character used to smile a lot, and now he very rarely does. He's always kind of gritting his teeth in anger. But yeah, this seems like the fact that they just run away and Trapster's like curses foiled when he's still on the loose and they're still in his hideout. I think there's some real issues with this one. Not as many issues as with the Thing alien story, but still, this one fails to pass the smell test for me.
So, what, a 5? Would you say?
Yeah, I think a 5 for all around. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you know what? I'll say a 5 for characterization, maybe a 7 for whether the fruit pie plan would work.
Yeah,
this
he's a goon. He doesn't
seem-
get to eat a lot, probably.
Yeah, he doesn't seem committed
Not
to.
delicious.
And this
flaky
is just
crusts.
a job. If you're a goon working for Trapster, why not stop for a fruit pie? Like, come on, this isn't a great job,
Okay, this is the final one. I remember this one being an oddball adventure.
Interesting.
It's called The Incredible Hulk and the Green Thumb, and there's a lot to take in here. I'm gonna move the picture a little closer because there's so much stuff going on
And
here.
this art style looks really familiar, but I can't put my finger on who it looks like.
I don't know why this went down.
Is it Charles Burns?
Yeah, it's probably,
probably
Charles Burns. It's probably Charles Burns, yeah.
So there's an explanatory note up top. It says the Hulk has been befriended by cousin Betsy, the plant lady, and also the sign on the window for her shop identifies her too as cousin Betsy, the plant lady. It's odd. You can see it correctly inside the shop. It's not backwards. As
Are
you
they
would
inside?
Imagine.
They might be outside, and she's got a lot of plants on the outside. A lot of
It's true,
flower
there
shops
could be
do that.
a lot of
It's gonna be an
plants on the
outdoor display.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she says, "Now, my dear green thing, I'm only too happy to take you in. Take you in with all my all my vegetables and plants." And Hulk is dazed, as he often is. Hulk says, "Hulk no remember how he got here, but Hulk happy. Finally find place where Hulk can find peace and nice cool shade plant to sit under."
He's just like
nobody
Job.
ever tried that.
Yeah.
And Betsy explains to these sort of plant
Job
creatures.
from Lawnmower Man?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
She explains to these plant creatures she has all around her. "Oh, my beautiful plants, my own little gang. What fine specimens you are. Rhoda, Mary, Artie. I want you to meet the Hulk. That jade giant is going to join
Now, you
us
can
in
see,
our
so
next..."
Artie is clearly an artichoke. Rhoda is probably a
Yes.
rhododendron. Mary's like probably a
Marigold, yeah.
marigold. This is
Yeah.
good stuff. This is good.
Yeah, it's good.
That jade giant is going to join us in our next robbery of diamonds. Can't say diamond robbery. And other precious things. What a specimen, and so green. And Hulk immediately rejects this. Hulk no join strange plants. Hulk no like people or plants. Hulk want to be alone.
Now, it's funny. He clearly liked that nice, cool shade plant earlier.
Yeah,
and now he doesn't like plants.
I mean, if there's one thing I know about Hulk, he does like to be alone. So
yeah, that's true. That was the Hulk's famous slogan, Hulk want to be alone. Yeah.
I do remember that first issue of the Avengers where Hulk is dressed up as a clown robot or something?
The circus is pretending that he is a robot strong clown. Yes.
Yes. Very odd.
This was in the first issue of the Avengers, the basis for the hit film.
That would have been great.
He was juggling elephants.
Yes,
anyway.
I want to see that in a movie so badly. So he's a clown and a robot. That's how he's so strong. Because he's clearly the Hulk.
Betsy says, I warn you, Green Gargantua, join us or else the artichoke chokes. Go get him, Artie. And Hulk doesn't like this.
She continues, see, Green Goliath? When I talk to my plants, they listen. Because I like this. There's a lot of text in this one.
A lot of text. Hulk always wind up saying, double-crossed first by puny humans, now by puny plant. Now Hulk mad. Oh, you don't want to get it. You don't like him when he's angry.
And he gets stronger, yeah.
Now, this is very strange. Hulk is not supplying the Hostess fruit pies in this one. Hulk turns Artichoke upside down and shakes her. And, diamonds and fruit pies fall out of, I guess, between the leaves of her artichoke head.
That was originally the title of the Prince song, by the way. Diamonds and fruit pies.
And Mary says, forget the diamonds, save the delicious Hostess fruit pies. And Artie says, with the real fruit filling and the light tender crust.
Yeah, we get it.
The apple, cherry, lemon. Yeah, she stored these fruit pies in her head. And then they're being led away by cops. A criminal gang of plants that love juicy Hostess fruit pies. What next?
Yeah,
no cop.
Shit.
And in the distance, we see Hulk jumping away as he does, saying, next Hulk go find peace in city, far away from green things. So,
you never get too far away from green things.
I think this is the best of the bunch.
This is an oddball.
This is by far the best of them. We have got the other ones. They're like, yeah, you know what? This is a pretty basic superhero story, pretty basic Marvel story. There's a bad guy. The superhero is going to stop him. He stops him with fruit pies. This main character is so perverse, and the way we find the information about her is so strange that she's like, join me, Hulk, join me with my other plants. And then so casually in the second one, by the way, we also rob diamonds. Like, okay, I guess so. That she says it right in front of Hulk, and he gets mad that the fruit pies are already hidden. They've also been stealing fruit pies, I guess, or she just buys them and stores them in the artichoke, and that's what they want to save. And then by the end, it's not even like he stops. I don't know how the police get there. I don't know how they know. I guess they're just called because someone says the Hulk is fighting a plant monster. Go deal with this. And the Hulk could not care less that they have been stopped with fruit pies. He's not offering them with anybody. He's oblivious.
Places to go.
Yeah, he and the fruit pies never interact.
And the straightforward version of this would be Bruce Banner is getting mad and he starts to turn into the Hulk. Another hero gives him a fruit pie. It calms him down because he likes it so much, and he turns back into Bruce Banner, and he still likes the fruit pie. That's the straightforward version. Anyone could tell that story. But some genius stepped in and said, no, I want to try something different. I want to challenge the basic narrative, and I want to do it in a way that leaves the reader with more questions than answers. The only answer, and maybe that answer they'll find will be inside a fruit pie, but I don't know. They're just going to have to look. Yeah.
And I feel like they also wanted to soft launch their Cousin Betty and plant robbers gang.
Yeah.
Maybe they're ready for the big time.
And Cousin Betsy and her plants, they feel like DC villains too. So it's almost like Hulk jumped into a DC comic from the Silver Age.
Understandably mad.
Yeah.
I love it 100%.
This is a Shazam gang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you mentioned the song that came to my mind, Stuart, was of course Diamonds and Fruit Pies by Joan Baez, later covered by Judas Priest. What a song. We both know what memories can bring. They bring diamonds and fruit pies. And so, I'm going to give this one 10 for the Hulk. He does not want to be a part of anything. He loves sitting under nice, cool shade plants. And then he jumps away, does not care about fruit pies. And I'm going to give it, Yeah, of course this plan works. It's not even a plan.
Well, that's the
It's
thing.
just
I
things
gotta
just
give
happen
this
because that's life, Dan. When
a
you make
0
plans and things
for-
just happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
When you make
plan,
plans.
like this is not sell fruit pies as a crime fighting tool. Like
That's
this
what I love about it. It is an ad for fruit pies in which the fruit pies are almost negligible,
Yes.
almost not even part of the process. Because it's not even in the other ones. It's kind of assumed the only way I can solve this problem is with fruit pies. Here, the fruit pies, they're just a side
Yeah.
element to Hulk beating the crap out of this plant and then jumping away. It's
This
yeah.
one admits that there are some problems that can't be solved with fruit pies.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty of that. That not all problems are fruit pie problems. Yeah,
Because I'm
This
sure there's a
is-
version of this story where they're like, okay, so Hulk is fighting these plants and he has to give them fruit pies to stop fighting him. And they're like, but Hulk wouldn't give a shit.
Well,
No.
also plants wouldn't want to eat fruit pies, right? They're like
That's
I mean,
that's what
that
fruits
fruit pie,
are plants.
that one plant says save the delicious Hostess fruit pie, and Artichoke says with the real fruit filling and the light tender crust.
Yeah.
They're
He's
humanoid
so,
plants.
and he's so
Cannibals, I guess.
obsessed with it. He's saying this out loud while he's being held upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
This is, here's the thing. Sometimes someone takes kind of like a junk art form and makes
Mhm.
art, what's been called termite art, and in this case, we've seen a lot of craft go into the other ones. I think there's less craft in this one, but there's more art, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
well, thank you for joining me for the most educational mini we've ever done.
I'm just glad we've done 2 minis in a row now, telling people about the Marvel universe, which is, that's great. I don't mind it.
equally important corners of the universe.
Yeah. Well, when
and
that Hulk and the Green Thumb movie comes out, I think people will know what it's all
people
about.
will be ready. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Maximum Fun. Go to MaximumFun.org to check out all the other great podcasts on Max Fun. Membership of listeners like you in Max Fun is what keeps us going. Thank you to Alex Smith. He goes by Howl Doughty on the internet. You can check out his music, his Twitch streams. He's got a podcast that I've been enjoying very much. It's a very strange concept. It's just a man and his giant possum friend talking about stuff. It's funny. Check that out too.
What's the name of it?
I believe it's called the Big Howl and Possum Podcast. But for the Flophouse, I've been Dan McCoy.
I've been Stuart Wellington.
And I've been Elliott Kalin, not enjoying these delicious Hostess fruit pies, but it really makes me wish I could.
Wait, with the real fruit filling and the light tender crust?
You know it.
Maximum Fun.
A worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
Directly
by you.